we're gonna have to get some white saber emojis out.
Man, look, you took the idea right out of my head, bro.
I see some people in chat already talking about it.
Hey, man, we got to make that happen, man. Get Chet, get somebody working on that stat.
You know what? We should have already had that. I think Chet's gonna already. I mean, look. I'm in a really good mood.
Hey, man,
that was an incredible episode.
I'm still riding the wave. I'm still riding the wave. Look, I can't even talk, man.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing, Al. Here's the thing. Somehow Chet is still screwing this up, or at least trying to.
Oh man, Chet, look, bro, look, we talked about this. Get it together, man. Get it together.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being here. I'd like to know in the chat, we're gonna get on camera in just a second here. I'd like to know, first of all, please hit like. Like I know it sucks. Like what I think it's stupid too. Why should you have to do that? But
it only takes a second. It only takes a second. There we go. There we go.
Our YouTube overlords require it. They're like, look, here's what it is. If you don't get them to move their finger down 2 inches to the right, 2 inches, and then tap, then you're no good as a content creator. Basically, is what it is. You're no good. So show them that we're okay.
There you go. Let them know, man. Let them know.
But here's what I want to know from the chat. In all seriousness, out of 10, ladies and gentlemen, everybody that's watching right now, out of 10, how would you rate this episode? And Al, I want to know what you would rate it to. Do you have a rating or?
Oh yes, I do, sir.
Okay.
Why? Yes, I do.
Okay. Boom. Bada boom. Bada boom. We're in. What's your rating? Unless, do you need a moment to pontificate? You don't think?
No.
What is it?
Solid 10 out of 10. I have been reserving my 10s all season for this episode.
Yeah.
And it did not disappoint.
Yeah, dude, it is a 10. And here's the thing. Like, it's crazy because could have easily disappointed, I think, a lot of people. This is, it's a bold thing to do this, to go in this direction and to touch on this character. She's such a beloved character to everyone that it's like, you just always run the risk. Like, you just run the risk, right? Of disappointing fans. Some fans are, I'm sure some fans actually are disappointed. You know what I mean? As crazy as that seems to me, people like you and me. I'm sure there are some fans that are disappointed. But dang, dude, like for them to,
let me tell you, it's going to take me, I need to see that episode at least twice again tonight. Tonight. Like I could not fully take in everything that episode had in just one sitting.
Right.
There was so much to focus on. There were so many things. And it just got to a point where I said, I'm only going to focus on the story because everything else is going to, like, I'm going to lose it. I can't, my senses were overloaded, man. Like, it was, oh, man.
Agreed. It was so special. This was really special, man.
Yeah.
This was really special. It felt really like
this was an event, man.
Yeah, this was an event, and there's so many people awake right now for this. So many people that stayed up to watch this. So much anticipation throughout the week. I really enjoy what they're doing with the show as far as giving us these cool things, paying them off, but then also teasing out these incredible things for the future. And like, again, spoilers, everybody, this is a spoiler stream. I don't know if I have spoilers on the thing at all. I might have to change that. But just so everybody knows, spoiler warning.
Spoiler alert.
We're going in just like Dave
deep.
Filoni. We're going in like Filoni on this.
Yeah, man.
Because the show is going in. The show is going to the heart of Star Wars. The show is going to the heart of core, deep lore, crazy like sweaty stuff that I think the sequels even avoided, to be quite honest with you.
Yes.
You know, Jeddah is sort of a little hint, like get what Gareth Edwards does in Rogue One, which was awesome. And I love the Wills and the Guardians of the Wills and all that. What that is barely a tease of the deep lore from Legends and when it comes to the creation of the Jedi and Tython and that planet. That is
oh man, look, my wheels have been turning. There is so much juice in just the fact that they're taking it back to Tython, man. Like, I don't think people understand. Like, we talked about this earlier on After Dark, and I was telling the homie Lavas that I think that this episode could have the potential to totally reshape Star Wars as we know it.
It did, yeah.
And simply by dropping that planet, you've done that. Like, you've set the table to basically make Star Wars whatever you want it to be.
Right.
And still, and the brilliance of Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau is they've done it in a way that does not necessarily have to like literally retcon a damn thing that we've gotten yet. And that's including the sequel trilogy, the prequel trilogy, and the OG trilogy. All of it can now be wrapped into this new perspective of what we're about to get, I think, with Star Wars, bro. So I'm just like,
it's wild, right? And the thing crazy. Is, too, you know, and we've sort of been talking about this. Look, for real, we've been talking about the Filoni-verse and sort of this suite of shows and how crazy things are going to get. We've been talking about it for a while. You know, we just kind of keep our ear to the ground over here. You know, we're just trying to figure out what's coming because we're just like you. We're sweaty nerds. We just want to know what's happening in Star Wars. So to see now, Mandalorian Season 2 is like dropping into the freaking West End Games RPG game. Like, it is like deep lore, like everywhere. It begins with him fighting a crate dragon and getting the pearl. And it's like, now they're name dropping Thrawn. Ahsoka is sending Grogu and Din to Tython. To sit on a seeing thing, and then what are the chances that well, I mean, there's just all kinds of crazy things that could happen with that.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. Is this sets it up and blows it wide open to where there's so much that they can do, and there's so much that's at their disposal right now that we just got to sit back and wait, like that's all, and speculate, and
have a freaking blast. That's the thing. That's the point. And it's crazy because we were put in a position. I think the fandom was put in an awkward position in the last couple of years. And I think there were clearly some things that were not done the best way. But I think one of the worst sins really was in any way, shape, or form putting a damper on the fun that fans have with the content. You know what I mean? Like, what are I mean, the whole idea of Star Wars, I think, really, is to take you to this other place, but then it gets your imagination going. It gets you creating. It gets you thinking, theorizing, wondering. You know, mystery. It's like, you know, wisdom begins with curiosity and wonder. And I think that is
tough, man.
That is to when you know, when the attitude becomes, you know, your Snoke theory sucks, or, you know, we're not going to necessarily, we're too worried about turning off normies to take Star Wars to where you as a Star Wars fan know Star Wars should go, right? That was the biggest sin to me. You know what I mean? And that appears to also be the biggest focus as far as what the show's trying to show you, right? That it's willing to do, right? It's like, we're willing to go to the heart of it, you know? Right. Because this show, man, okay, I'm sorry. Like, I'm just going on this thing because, like, to me, this...
Talk your stuff, man. Like, this is what we're here for.
So check it. Okay, so feel me on this. So you and I, especially in the lead up to the Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
We had spoken several times about the the goal of that film, or more or less something that needed to come out of that film, was putting the toys back on the shelf correctly, setting this thing back together again, and sort of quelling the fire and the drama and the thing that had happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
It didn't do it. It didn't succeed with that.
No.
That movie did not functionally have that outcome. But Mandalorian appears to be able to pick up all the slack, because it feels like now we're self-correcting in a way that I couldn't have imagined possible. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, and that's the thing, right? It's like, it's not just the fact that we've got this dope series that's really redefining what Star Wars can be going forward. It's that it's cleaning up the sins of the past while doing it. Like, they're basically, without having to retcon anything, without having to disregard anything that we've seen so far, they've intricately woven this stuff into the lore, like into the season. Like, these episodes, there's so, like you said, so many deep cuts, and there's so many things that they can drop. And the crazy thing about it is, all we have right now is just speculation. Like, we don't know exactly where a lot of this is going.
Yeah.
But it's starting to come together like pieces of a puzzle. And it's just like, every episode is a revelation that makes you, really have an understanding for how deep this is really about to get. Yeah. And I'm just like, oh man, like they about to blow the lid off of it, man. It's gonna be crazy.
It is, and I'm so excited. So, okay, let's now go through the episode and just kind of talk about our reactions to the different things, and then we'll save Q&A for later. So if you have a super chat, if it's something you really want us to answer, you can drop it in. We'll go over all the super chats, but we're gonna do that later. Okay, yeah. So we're gonna kind of go through that. So spoiler warning again, because we're about to get into it. But opening scene, live action Ahsoka. Everybody's at the edge of their seat anticipating this thing. She rolls up. How did you take it? How did you think it went, opening scene with Ahsoka?
Beautiful. It was beautiful. It was exactly what I wanted to see. Like, you don't waste any time in this episode getting to what people want to see. Like, that's what hit me immediately. It was like, oh, they're not going to waste no time. And to really encapsulate and let the audience know, and this, like, make no mistake, this episode was for sweaties, but this was aimed at normies. So the first thing that Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau had to pull off in this episode is, how do we get normies on board with Ahsoka right off the rip? And that's legit what they did in that scene. Yeah. Was, if you don't know who Ahsoka is, you know right off the bat that she ain't nobody to play with. Like, she ain't nobody to play with. The way she was like dispatching these dudes, you haven't seen that level of precision since maybe the prequel era movies, and like the way the Jedi got down then. Like, this was Ahsoka, like, at her finest, and her movement and the action, the way she was, it was straight out of Clone Wars or Rebels. Like, there was no difference. That was the thing that struck me. Like, I don't know about you, bro, but that's what struck me, was like, I felt like I was watching Ahsoka immediately.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay. So yeah, for me, it's like, yeah, it totally played, but even kind of beyond that, it was some of the most chilling, dope Jedi stuff I've ever seen.
Yes.
That I've ever seen. That was damn ridiculous. She's going in and out of shadow and fog.
Yes.
With the lightsabers disappearing into the darkness. Bro, that was some of the coolest stuff I've ever seen, bro. She's using the Force to do this. And I'll tell you, we're talking about the fight just at the beginning. There's so much flavor of her combat, too, because I thought the end sequence was chock full of incredible choreography and stuff. Like when she wall runs up, and her little fight right at the edge of the wall with the wall guards. Bro, ridiculous.
Man, look,
ridiculous.
It was the whole thing. I mean, like you said, like, definitely don't want to get ahead, but it was like there's certain scenes or sequences with her in action where Rosario Dawson even gets the Ahsoka mannerisms in her facial expressions, and like that witty sarcasm that she has when she's out matching you.
Bit of like
Yeah, like it was so thrown. Like I was just like, she's nailing this, son. Like she is nailing it, and like you felt that from the very beginning. That first, like you said, that whole ambiance and the way that she was moving back and forth, you could tell right off the bat that like, oh yeah, they took some time to make sure they nailed Ahsoka. It was crazy, man. It was crazy.
And what a cool, like from a story perspective, right? Like think about the idea of writing it like this, where Dave's like, what if we open and there's like, and he's like, there's this gong, like it's like basically it's like a Eastern version of the Death Star siren. You know what I mean? And it's like, dun, dun, but it's Ahsoka. It's an alarm to the city that Ahsoka's coming. You know what I mean? And like, so imagine like, right? And Dave's like, I want to write like, and it's like, what? Like you're gonna open a scene where it's like the tower on the wall. It felt very, very samurai, dude. Like,
oh yeah, man.
I don't know, like Hidden Fortressy, like kind of like it just felt very Kurosawa to me.
Well, I mean, it felt like honestly, man, the most recent thing that I could think of was literally like a Ghost of Tsushima scene.
Ooh.
Like there's scenes in that game where like dude walks up on like a group of enemies and he's like, all right, who won it?
Yeah.
And it was just like
that whole feudal system too. I really love that. Like the thing that's so cool about like that type of environment or aesthetic, I guess, in cinema is that it allows for these very like atmospheric conversations where the conversation, it's like it's almost like a Tarantino kind of effect where the conversation gets dialed up and becomes almost its own form of music, right? And its interplay is so cool. Yeah, man, the beginning I thought was so brilliant. What a bold way to bring her in. And then she has the conversation with her and she opens her mouth and speaks for the first time. So what were your thoughts on the voice? It's a big deal for people.
As soon as she started speaking, I was like, she's got it. Okay. Because this tells, and the reason I said it was because the thing that I kept thinking about was we have to remember that this is still an Ahsoka that's like several years removed from what we saw in Rebels. You know what I mean? Like there was still the OG trilogy took place like after pretty much what we saw in Rebels for the most part. So there's years, there's gaps in there because again, like in season 3, when you see in the Twin Sons episode, Luke's maybe 8, 11 in that episode. Yeah. So you kind of just like doing the timeline. You're like, okay, so there's been some years. So she's been like grizzled. She's been out and really been having to like, grind to get by and really been through some stuff. So I didn't expect to hear the same like youthful like exuberance really from her voice. And I felt like you could hear Rosario coming through, but it was Ahsoka's cadence. It was Ahsoka's tone. It was like, this is the Ahsoka that I would expect to hear at this point in Ahsoka's life. And it made perfect sense for me because, again, it would have been dope to have Ashley do it, but I'm not mad one bit that Rosario was the voice because she nailed it. I think she nailed it.
I think she nailed it too. It was interesting, and again, I think they play it really, really well because there's no voice at first, and you sort of get the physicality right away, and you're like, you're kind of there for it either way at that point, I think. But they also kind of have her speak sparingly at first, and she does really mimic the cadence, and I think they were rather careful with that. But as the episode went on, like, dude, like she's just there being Ahsoka.
Yeah, that's it. And that was the thing.
You just kind of you're like, yeah, that's Ahsoka. Like, and we're just we're hanging with Ahsoka now. Like, we're just now we're hanging with Ahsoka in live action.
Live action, man. Live action. That's what's so crazy about it. Like that's the part it was like I was watching the continuation of her arc from Rebels, but I didn't notice, like I was not taken out of it one bit in her being live action. Like there was nothing about her representation. It was nothing about her movement, nothing about the way that she portrayed the character that took me out of that episode. Like that whole 45 minutes or so, or let's say 40 minutes, I was glued to every single scene and like captivated every time she came on screen. Like just oh man, like, and the way she interacted with characters, like in the man, it was
her.
Was as
it was
good as
Ahsoka.
you could get. It was Ahsoka all day.
Yeah,
Ahsoka all day.
So let's talk about, again, spoiler warning. If you're watching and you're not ready for spoilers, you're about to get spoiled, so you should get out of here. Let's talk about Grogu.
Yes,
Grogu. What do you think of the name?
The name, I'm like, it's not that I hate it. I don't hate it. I don't love it, but I feel like it will grow on me. It'll grow on me. But
it'll grow goo on you, maybe?
It'll grow goo on me. That's what it might do. Yeah. But no, I'm put it this way. I'm glad that we know his name at this point. I'm curious to see how quick Grogu catches on. But I think it's brilliant in that it sounds like a name for Baby Yoda.
Yeah, it sounds perfect. I mean? Like, to be honest with you, like when I heard it first, right, I was like, no. That's not true. That's impossible, you know. And then like you're like, oh, of course it's Grogu. Like it makes perfect sense. It's the perfect name for him. And I love the sounds he's making. And when Mando says to him Grogu, and he's like, or like,
that made it official.
Hadu or whatever he says. Yeah, it was awesome.
I'll tell you another thing that I did catch, and I thought it was brilliant too. Brilliant writing was, we're experiencing this through Mando's kind of his almost from his perspective, right? Like he's the protagonist, and even through the episode as he's learning Grogu's name, he's still hey kid, and it's kind of like almost like breaking the fourth wall, because Ahsoka's like, it's Grogu, and it's like, just to remind the audience, like, all right, we know it's Baby Yoda, he's cute and everything, but like, dude's got a name, and it's just like that kind of stuff was just, it's just like, I'm like, that's the way you do it. You don't have to hit people over the head with it. You don't have to like make the humor or make like whatever you're trying to infer like all totally obvious or anything like that. You can just do it in that way. So yeah, it was, dude.
So he's been trained on Coruscant.
Yes.
By many different Jedi masters. And then around the time of when the Empire took over, so another way to say that is around the time of Order 66, he is taken from the Jedi Temple and hidden. And at that point, his memory becomes dark, clouded, and he's very lonely. So what do you think is going on? What's the speculation on Grogu and his history?
I think Grogu is I think we're going to find out somehow that Grogu is somebody that the Empire and particularly Palpatine had on the radar for a good minute before like Order 66 happened. Like he knew somehow that this kid was there and that this kid was integral to whatever it was that he was trying to accomplish, whether and it seems like they're going the route of trying to establish that this was the whole origins of him trying to recreate the cloning and create a force sensitive clone and kind of having some ties and hints to Snoke. But it seems to me that at some point when they got this kid out of the temple, that Palpatine made it his, order to like hunt this kid down. Like somebody had to find this kid. And I'm thinking if he was shrouded in darkness at that early, then they may have had him for that long. It's like how, like they may have very well had Baby Yoda or Grogu for that long. He might have been with the Empire that entire time until they lost track of him or whatever happened, that he ended up, they ended up putting the bounty out on him.
Yeah, that's, I think the big picture idea here is that despite having now this new knowledge of his backstory, there's still so much we don't know. It's brilliant, right?
Right.
We're still going to speculate, theorize, just think about this. And yeah, it's so interesting. What does that mean exactly? So he was trained, and yet he's very adolescent. He can speak he speaks through the Force. Is that just a function of his, like, is that just always going to be him? Like, is he, unable to speak common or basic, maybe, what's the deal with that? Also, I think one of the themes here that she's trying to basically show is that he has suppressed his abilities in order to survive.
Yes.
And so he's very hesitant to even showcase his power.
Ability. Right.
Yeah. What do you make of that?
Which begs the question for me then, just how strong is he right now?
Yeah.
Like what, I mean, we've already seen some of what he can do. I mean, he healed Grief Karga's arm in season 1. He saved, Mando from the Mudhorn. We saw
a wall of fire.
Yeah, exactly. Held up, which again was something that we saw Kanan Jarrus do in Rebels to sacrifice his life. But Kanan Jarrus was a trained Jedi with years of experience, and Baby Yoda's doing this stuff already. So again, for me, it's like the question becomes just how strong is Grogu? Like how powerful is this kid? Like what are we dealing with here?
Yeah, and very, very interesting. Yeah. And then, even further than that is, so what are we going to be doing with him now? We're going to explain where he's been all this time. Right. Well, can we get, where you want to get real deep? I mean, I don't know how many people are even watching right now. It's probably a couple. Oh shit.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, we got. All
right. So
we got a few.
I kind of want to talk about a theory right off the rip.
Let's do it.
Real crazy. It involves Anakin and possibly recontextualizing the Chosen One idea and prophecy just slightly. And if the chat is down to go really sweaty and weird, put a 1 into the chat. And if not, no big deal. We'll just keep kind of talking about the episode. But if you want to go real sweaty with it, hit me with a 1.
I have a feeling I know where this is going, homie.
Oh no!
I have a feeling.
All right, stop putting the ones in. You're gonna break YouTube. We'll just do it. Okay, look. Goddamn! Look at all those that are getting hidden right now.
Yeah,
in the chat.
like
right.
It's
like okay. So the mention of Tython. Okay.
Yes.
Here's how I think they're gonna connect all of this, and it's really cool, dude. So you and I were talking about this a little bit, but those ships, those well, I guess I could pull up a picture and show the people of what kind of ships I'm talking about, right?
Go for it.
Okay, so
make sure everybody's on board with us.
I'll pull up an image here for y'all.
Word.
In fact, hang on, wait. Let's do this just to be safe. Well, we should have actually been done this, but spoiler warning.
Spoilers all day long. If you're in here and you ain't seen the latest episode, what the hell are you doing? What's going on?
So these ships, basically in canon, there's this moment where all of these ships show up around the galaxy, and they call to Force sensitives. Okay? And a bunch of Force sensitives get in these ships, and they all get teleported to Tython. And Tython, this is where the Jedi are founded, is Tython, right? And so the thing that's interesting about these ships, and I'll pull it up in just a second. Sorry, the computer's going crazy, ladies and gentlemen. The thing about these ships is that let me see here, transform. Is that I think we've seen them before in canon. Okay, so that's the ship that I'm talking about. I forget the name for them.
That looks awfully familiar to me.
Yeah. So correct me if I'm wrong here, but is this not similar to the shape of the ship that when in the Mortis arc in Clone Wars, this is similar to the design that they run into, right? When they find each other, right? or when they get transported to Mortis, or however that works. Am I wrong about that, Al?
No, I think so. I think that is what that is. That's actually not what I was looking at or what I noticed when you brought it up. But I think you're right.
What did you notice?
Well, to me, it looks like a holocron.
Yeah, it looks like 2 holocrons, right?
Right. Looks like 2 holocrons, right?
Yeah, maybe like a Sith and a Jedi holocron, maybe smushed together.
Right.
Huh? Yeah.
And the reason I think that's interesting to me is because, again, if we're talking about Tython and we're talking about holocrons, that actually has Legends implications, people.
Mm-hmm.
Because Tython is the planet that one Darth Bane went to when he was trying to learn how to create his own Sith holocron.
Yep.
And so that immediately to me says, makes me want to know if are we dipping into Legends?
Oh, we're definitely dipping into Legends.
Are we going Legends?
So hear me out on this. Okay, hear me out on this. So
let me see what you got.
With Grogu, she said specifically that she's only met. Well, okay, so she talked about how she had met another member of the species, but she talks about how she's seen what happens before, even to the best of us with attachment and people like this.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
And the very high midichlorian count, right? Like Grogu has this incredibly high midichlorian count. The only other people that we know that have this are Yoda and Anakin. They have incredibly high midichlorian counts, right?
Right.
So I'm wondering if the concept of like the one, or the concept of these like really, really powerful, influential Force users, that we're going to end up finding out that like essentially when in Legends, when all of these ships went out there, they were attracting those type people. Okay. Like those type people. And when the way she said like she said like Grogu will put him on the seeing stone or something like that, and his fate will sort of be determined. That feels very similar to me to when Anakin went to Mortis. And he was called to bring balance, right? And the thing that's crazy about Tython is that's when there was balance. There was balance between the light and the dark on Tython for like a long ass time after the initial pilgrimage, after they were initially brought there by these crazy ass ships. And so I think we might end up seeing like almost like this new deep lore kind of thing established where there's this relationship between the cosmic force and maybe the wills and these very powerful Force users that get called to Tython, or that are essentially called to a higher purpose of bringing balance. You know what I mean? And that Grogu is likely one of those beings. What do you think?
Got you. I think that might be somewhere that they go, man. I mean, it makes sense to me. I think what it will do also, kind of taking that a step further, is I think what this will do is it is going to give us a completely different perspective of Jedi versus Sith, light side versus dark side. Like that's I don't think they're going to retcon that, but I think they're going to blow the lid off of that so that we or should I say the normies realize that being a Jedi is not the only path for light side.
Right.
And that, what we're going to find out is that the Jedi and the Sith are actually extremists and that they are not, and
your
that it's going to blow
here
Star
is like
Wars.
a violent storm.
Exactly. And it's going to be a situation where you realize that the Skywalker saga as it is, while significant, is still only a small portion of the Force at large and Star Wars at large. And I think that's what they're doing, is they're basically trying to exponentially grow the Star Wars universe in a way that, like, I think as much as 6-8 months ago, nobody thought was possible.
You ready? Something just jumped into my brain. Are you ready to dial this shit up? Turn
this up to 10, man.
I'm Grand Admiral Thrawn. Okay, Grand Admiral Thrawn. Grand Admiral Thrawn.
Here we go. Because I think I know where you're going, so I want to hear you say it.
Okay. So Grand Admiral Thrawn,
yes,
is one of my favorite Star Wars characters.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Grand Admiral Thrawn is a very intelligent character. If you've never read Thrawn or you've never like experienced the character, he's like Sherlock Holmes. Is the best way I can put it. You'll be in a situation and all this, you think like this thing's going on like A, B to C. And then all of a sudden you realize Thrawn knew you were going to do that, knew you were thinking that, and was 6 steps ahead of you the whole time.
Right.
If I were Thrawn and I were trying to surmise as much as I possibly could about the Force, the Jedi, the fallen Emperor, etc., etc., I would probably put a homing tracker on a character like Din Djarin that has this child, right? And then I might follow and sort of spy. And if I were Thrawn, I would be intelligent enough to know AHSOKA Tano will not train this Jedi, you know. But she'll probably send him to some other Jedi, one that I'd very much like to meet. If I were Grand Admiral Thrawn, I would know all of that, and I'd be very excited to go to Tython.
Yes, sir.
What do you think?
Yes, sir. And if you want to take it a step further, if I'm Thrawn and I need to make sure that I'm as low key as possible, how could I still accomplish what I'm doing while totally misdirecting any type of implication towards me whatsoever?
Sure.
You find yourself a patsy. That patsy, I think, is wielding a darksaber right now.
I know. Well, this is the other. Yes, that's so fair, and it's crazy, right? Because, like, okay, the whole time we're thinking Gideon. Now, I am currently split between 2 ways of thinking about Thrawn. Number one, Thrawn, while very cool and dope, is likely just being name dropped here to set up the Ezra thing and the search for Ezra, and that. Okay. However, I can't help but think that Thrawn is such a big character and that they're aware of how big of a character he is, that they wouldn't just name drop him in an episode only to use him in like a seemingly small capacity.
No, right.
Right. So what does this mean? Is Gideon appetizer for Thrawn? Main course?
Well, yeah, I think so, but I think we're thinking of it in short term when we should be thinking of it long term. Because you can still have all the focus on Gideon, because the normie does not make the connection between Thrawn and Gideon yet. No, they heard Thrawn and it was like, whoever he is, that's somebody she's looking for. Okay, cool. We know that, but to the normies, they don't get that yet. So you still have all the focus on Gideon, and you can do a whole battle with Gideon for the darksaber and have that payoff. And then, you know, the question becomes, well, who do you have as an enemy if you get rid of Gideon? Bingo. That's the moment where you transition it and say, nah, he wasn't really the dude, though.
Yeah.
He wasn't really the dude. That's what I'm saying. It's like they could totally loop it and bring everything full circle. And the thing about it that I think is so crazy is that you then ask yourself, okay, well, then what has Thrawn been doing all this time? Like, Thrawn's obviously is aware of what's going on with the Empire.
Yeah.
He knows everything that's going on. What could Thrawn be doing? Building assets for who? Who's his number? Who is his allegiance to above anything else?
The Chiss.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so who could we imagine, or what could possibly have happened while Thrawn is out in the unknown regions with Ezra Bridger for a certain amount of time? Thrawn comes across something that he's like, this is not only a threat to, you know, the galaxy or a planet, but this is threatening the Chiss ascendancy.
Yeah.
And I'd be damned if I let that go down.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
And there's the and real quick, and there's this recently toppled empire.
True.
With all these resources.
True.
Man, and like that's the way I see it. Is like you can still have Gideon. Gideon can still play his part. Gideon can do everything that you can set him up, and then all of a sudden you hit people over the head with Thrawn after the fact.
Yeah, man. It's pretty wild. I'm wondering, do you think it's possible that they could work Thrawn in as a major threat that the New Republic officially dealt with? I don't know how much of that's been thoroughly explained and like what exactly was happening at the Battle of Jakku, but it would be very interesting if Thrawn could be brought into that and sort of retroactively made a big part of this part of canon, like in the first 15 years or something like that. Would be really cool. The other thing, though, and I think this is, we really want the character to last and to be around. I can't help but think something like the production of like the Sith fleet and, some of the stuff from Rise of Skywalker. Again, I know, like, sequels, right? But the Sith fleet is such an interesting thing because that is a massive powerhouse level thing. That was so... And if you're Thrawn, like, let's just say presumably you're Thrawn and you have been alive and involved with this whole thing. And let's just say the Grisk are coming or the Vong or something. And let's just say you're helping the Emperor build his crazy-ass Sith fleet and you're like, Resurrection seems pretty wild, but whatever, bro. Like, this will at least help us against those dudes. And then the Rebels come in and, again, just blow it all up. If you're Thrawn, dude, you're going to be like, God, like, just like, can we just keep the weapons? Because the big threat's coming. That's it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I wouldn't hate it if they went even that far with connecting it.
No, that's exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like that, this could be them setting up Thrawn. This could be the very beginning stages of us realizing how big and how important he's going to be to the future of Star Wars. Like, I could see this being a long play to bridge to the sequel trilogy, to bridge us beyond the sequel trilogy. That's when I say I feel like this is recontextualizing Star Wars in general, I think they are going to set this up. And I'll tell you another reason too, is because there was, and I've got to go back and do some research on it, but there was a particular race of some type that was a threat, and there was basically a battle that took place on Tython in Legends. And when I was reading about this, I was watching it.
There were a couple.
There were a couple, but there was one in particular. I can't think of which one it was. It might have been the Rakata, but it was what struck me though was it immediately sounded like the description we got for the High Republic.
Didn't it? Yeah.
And how they had this like enemy that they were fighting forever, and then there was some huge like cataclysmic event that sends the whole universe into darkness. Well, if you look at Tython's history, there was, it was basically a force nexus, like the combination of the light and the dark, until this battle took place, and it basically turned it into like a dark side, like nexus, like it was a dark side, like just storm, that's what led Bane there after a while. And so my thing is, I'm thinking of all of that, and I'm saying if they're bringing Tython into it, like that's a way right there where you can take the High Republic, the old trilogy, the prequel trilogy, and the sequel trilogy, and Thrawn, and bring everything
and the High Republic,
the whole thing could be full circle. They've got it right here, and it's like the thing wild. It's just crazy, man. And it started like the thing. It's a thing. If that's the way they go with that, and the thing that it started with this episode of Mando really just blowing the lid off of it. Yeah. Dude. Yeah. Like, it's insane, man. It's insane.
Last little thing, and then we'll get into Q&A, everybody. So get your questions ready. Again, we will be going over every super chat that comes in. Well, I shouldn't say that, just in case people go wild. But we'll go over like 99% of all super chats that come in. Can. Yeah, as many as we can. And then we'll also go over just questions in the chat as well. So get questions ready. So, Al, the thing that's crazy, of course, there was, the leak situation and, that coming out early.
Yeah.
The leak initially seemed so crazy and bizarre that I was like, there's no way, right?
Yep.
apparently it had been posted on Reddit multiple times and been deleted. There was also a post a long time ago about the Rebels sequel series that had mentioned the Rakata. And it had mentioned Thrawn and Ezra and the Rakata. And, bro, I'm telling you right now that if that shit ends up being true, what was in that OG leak about the Rakata coming into this thing, dude, we are not only, like, it's crazy, you know, like, we're not only like back and we're in a great place for Star Wars, but this might legitimately be like some of the wildest stuff that's going to happen in pop culture moving forward. And that's what's great is like, look, Marvel's changing the game. DC's doing multiverse stuff right now. Everything's elevating. Star Wars can sort of leapfrog back into that by, you know, doing this. But yeah, dude, Rakata, what do you think, dude?
That's what I'm saying, man. And it's like, this is brilliant because what this does is, this bridges, if they go this route, right? If they go this route, this bridges the biggest gap that they've had in Star Wars fandom in terms of the new era as opposed to the Legends era. Like you have so many people that were on that were down with Legends that are not fooling with this new Disney era because they basically wiped all of that off the table and said, you know what, none of that matters.
Right.
But if you start adapting those stories and those threads in a way where you can take some of that Legends material and bring it in, bro, like this is brilliant. It's brilliant what they're doing right now. And it's like, that's why I don't think this is something that's like, you know, specific to this season of Mandalorian. That's why I don't think this Thrawn thing is going to be something that they pay off right away. I think they're setting up Thrawn to be like the guy for all of these shows that they're for the entire Filoni-verse.
Yeah, dude.
Like
it seems that way, right?
Yeah. Be the Thanos of the Filoni-verse, man.
Which is
like
perfect.
And it would be perfect.
Yeah, and that'll bring so many EU fans in hardcore because of Heir to the Empire and Timothy Zahn and all of that. It's actually kind of unbelievable. I remember just even hearing that Thrawn was coming into Rebels, and I remember getting so giddy and just being like, what? Thrawn and canon?
That's
like
crazy.
Just, just being so excited. And now like to see it like, okay, so no, he's like, it's not just canon. Like he might be like, they're gonna legit, it's gonna legit be like what it was like back in the day when Heir to the Empire and stuff was coming out, but like for everybody. And everybody's going to be like, yo, Thrawn's crazy. They're going to know about the art thing, you know, him like dissecting the art.
The whole nine, man.
Yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. All right, let's start getting into these super chats here. We'll start with Steve. Thank you so much for the very generous $25 holla. Says, how about a Nerd Theory live stream watch party next week? Everybody smash that like, and Josh will forget he's on a live stream again for our viewing pleasure. Yeah, that was a close one, Steve. That was a close one, my friend. And yeah, I'll talk to Theory. We'll get something going on. I'll tell you that the Nerd Vengers are going to do a watch party Sunday night at 7. And when you're damn Skippy, we're going to be watching this episode again, Mang. All right, and then Craig comes up with a super chat, said, could Mace have been the one who took Grogu? Explain. I already have seen a lot of people jumping on this train. I know people love Mace. I don't really think so, but the timing is vague, right? Around the time of the rise of the Empire is such a vague statement. It allows for a lot of different things to be possible. Al, what do you think? Did Mace take Grogu from the temple?
No, I don't think it was Mace. I think this is going to be, I think what we may see is somebody got that kid out of there, I think, post Order 66. Like, or right at that moment. Like they knew how important he was and got him up out of there. I mean, that I don't think it's going to be Mace because I think Mace was kind of preoccupied with other stuff at that point. And I don't think it would have been unless they did something where they say like he and Yoda kind of knew that, you know, Grogu was going to play a role and in the future, and they had to get him up out of there.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think it would have been Mace to do it.
I think it's possible he was taken by a temple guard that then became an inquisitor and that he was actually raised in the Inquisitory and directly trained by Palpatine. But that's just my nerdy brain reaching for what I want.
That might work too, man. Because like I said, whatever happened, he wasn't on his own. For him to be, for his vision or his memory to be clouded in darkness from the point where he was taken from the temple, that means he wasn't in safe hands for very long.
Right, that's the point. Like, okay, so he's taken and hidden, but he's on his own hiding his Force abilities and stuff. Like, yeah, it's it's weird.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
There's a lot to unpack there. Justin Lane says Grogu witnessed Anakin killing the younglings while being saved. At some point, Ahsoka Force Ghost Anakin will speak to Grogu and we'll see him have PTSD. That would be hilarious, dude, if they let retcon that. I was imagining a shot just like in the new Spider-Man where they retcon in Mysterio to be in that scene. And like you just retcon in little baby Yoda be in the corner watching Anakin just cut through all the younglings and he's just like, ah, you know.
Oh man!
And then Anakin's like, "You young one, we have plans for.
We have plans for."
Yep. John Bond, thank you for becoming a member, my friend. Make sure you stop on by this Sunday for the watch party. You're a Nerd Venger now. Thank you, thank you. Drafter, welcome as well. You are a Nerd Venger now. Make sure you check out the community tab for all the cool behind the scenes stuff. Nighttime says, "Do you think that the Jedi are following the Din around him? That's why they were hinting R2 and Lothcat. Do you think the Jedi are following Din?" That is such an interesting theory. Are the Jedi following Din right now? Al, what do you think?
No, I don't think so. I think if anything, it may hint at other Jedi maybe knowing where Ahsoka was. Or being in contact with Ahsoka, maybe a particular Jedi by the name of Ezra Bridger, maybe might have known where Ahsoka was at that point, or maybe was around there, and we just don't know it yet. But yeah, I don't think other Jedi, they may be aware of him now, but in terms of tracking him, no, I don't think so.
Yeah, that would be too wild. I mean, the Jedi are barely around. I mean, I think that's kind of one of the themes here, right? Is like the Jedi aren't really around, and so if she's telling him to go to a beacon to literally call a Jedi to help, then there's no way they're following around. You know what I mean? I don't buy it, but it's kind of a cool thought. I appreciate the thought. Steve with a couple more super chats here says, "In my opinion, the tendril issues is because long ones were probably harder to do stunts while wearing. Also, Josh, time to reach out to your favorite alumni." Yeah, for sure. Gideon will die. Thrawn will show up and rebuild fleet with Ezra as a Sith because he senses the child. Wait, Thrawn will show up with a rebuilt fleet with Ezra, dude, as a Sith. Oh my god. Because he senses the child. Then Mando will be on the run from Thrawn. That just melted my brain. But what do you think about that?
Man, look, I'm all for evil baby Yoda, but don't make Ezra evil. Look, I know we flirted around with it, but man,
it's not that he'll be evil, right? He'll just be he'll be bent to the will of what is necessary. Look, the Grisk war or the Rakata war will require soldiers, you know what I mean? Like look, baby's too strong. Like, look, we're not trying to be all that here. I just want to show the people something real quick. Just another thumbnail. I was just randomly making thumbnails earlier, and I had no idea what to make them about and stuff. But here's one.
Hey, I'll let Josh for them lotto numbers, man.
I mean,
Oh man.
I mean, maybe.
Brilliant, man. Brilliant.
Maybe.
People ain't ready, man. They ain't ready.
Yeah, so I look, that's a pretty cool little theory and super chat there. Look, I would love it, man. I frankly would love it. I think the idea of Thrawn is such an interesting character, and in Legends, Sabaoth, right? The cloned Obi-Wan. In Legends, that character is manipulated a lot by Thrawn. Thrawn manipulates a Jedi and uses him to, advance his own kind of stuff or whatever. But, Yeah, that's a cool theory, Steve, and I appreciate the support, brother. I'm going to just kind of go through these out because we want to.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Bren says, "What up, guys? Sorry to join late. Came from Star Wars Theory. Do you think Grogu was at the temple during Order 66? Do you think Anakin sensed Grogu escaping the temple? Love y'all. Hey, thanks, Bren. Appreciate the love. What do you think, man? Was he literally there at the temple? Order 66. Al, what do you think?
Was he literally there? No, I don't think so. I think he was swept up out of there somewhere right before Anakin started swinging the lightsaber at the babies. I think they had gotten him out of there just in the nick of time.
I'm going to go that he was there, and I'm going to go with the fact that the temple guard, I really like, I don't know, I'm just addicted to this inquisitory thing right now. And again, I have no idea. It's all speculation, but yeah, to me, like, that's just too juicy, man.
Yeah, if they go that route and that's how it goes, bro, that's gonna blow my mind, because that's gonna give me a renewed hope for my evil baby Yoda, man.
Yes,
that'll give me renewed hope for evil baby Yoda, because
we need that evil baby Yoda, man.
Last couple of weeks I've been kind of shaky, man, but you pull the Inquisitorian to it, I'm gonna be like, there is hope yet.
Precisely. Let's see here. Love it. They're going back to the EU and putting their own spin on it. This is the Marvelification of Star Wars we've heard about, using the classic stories as inspiration and making it their own. Yeah, it's almost like we've been talking about this, Al, for
I don't know how long?
A year. But it's all good. We're happy to be here. Gideon is Vader to Thrawn's Emperor. Totally agree, Steve. That would be a really cool kind of thing. Just Hook says, first Rosario is Bae as Ahsoka, but her not mentioning Sabine makes me think Mando is set before she and Sabine go off together to look for Ezra. Very true. Very true, Just Hooks. And that is a really, really interesting concept. It would be great to see more stuff with that. Maybe, I mean, look, Al, let me just ask you this. Do you think this is the last of Ahsoka this season?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think there's going to be something at the end of the season that is going to require Ahsoka to show up. Yeah. I don't know what that is, but I just have a feeling something's going to happen and Ahsoka's going to show up one more again this season.
Well, think about this. The model in season 1 was a whole bunch of flavor of the week that ended up becoming, let's get the band back together.
Bingo.
So
live is what I tell you.
Right. So what what might happen again? You know, we get Cobb, we get Bo, we get Ahsoka. I mean, that is a crew right there.
And you know what type of threat would warrant that crew of that magnitude? Gideon showing up to come get that baby
with a bunch of Death Troopers, or Dark Troopers. Yeah.
Yes.
And a dark side Ezra Bridger, yeah.
Man, look. Oh man.
You haven't seen what I've seen, Ahsoka. If you did, you'd understand.
Oh man.
Oh shit. Ominous hiccup. Wouldn't Anakin have contacted Ahsoka as a Force ghost by now? And what do you think he would have said? I don't know. That's a tough one. Anakin didn't really contact many people as a Force ghost, bro. I'm pretty sure he was pretty guilty, pretty shameful, he was not in the best place, even as a Force ghost, I feel. So I don't think he did much of that, yeah. 19 Kylo says, any chance Ahsoka gets her own show? 100% confirmed it's happening. Stormy821 says, this episode was awesome. Ahsoka looks fantastic. I couldn't agree more. Let's see here. Do y'all think we get Sebastian Stan as Luke this season? That's what Theory was theorizing. I think it's possible. I think it would be incredible. Al, Sebastian Stan, Luke Skywalker. What do you think?
You could a boy can only hope, right? You can only hope. But I mean, again, if you're sending them to Tython to send this beacon out to Jedi,
amen.
And we're talking post return to the Jedi. What other Jedi is coming?
Yeah, what other Jedi is out there, right?
What other Jedi?
Plus Lore Santeca. Okay. Plus Lore Santeca and Luke are literally at this time as far as we know it, are literally engaged in going around the galaxy trying to find ancient Jedi temple and artifacts.
Yes.
It literally writes itself.
Bingo.
So yeah, I'm down with that theory. Sergio says, I was hoping Rex was one of the prisoners. Yeah, that would have been real cool. 19 Kilo comes in again. The Baby Yoda mentioned Padme and Anakin started getting emotional and crying, and Baby Yoda escaped, but Anakin was crying. Yeah, that would be kind of cool for sure, man. Great Pack says, greet here. Would love it if Kanan saved Grogu. Yeah, that'd be really interesting. It would be wild. I guess Kanan... Well, no, Kanan's dead at this point. What you talking about, fool? All right. Lucky Croc says, Grogu was perhaps rescued by Tarful. Ooh, Yoda's Wookiee friend who helped him escape. Hey, why not? Why not? Good relations with the Wookiees Yoda has. Yep. I could see it.
Yep.
I could definitely see that. Green Ranger says, so I noticed Ahsoka never said she wasn't a Jedi. Filoni has always gone out of his way to mention that with her. You think something changed? Yeah, I do, actually. I think... Yeah, go ahead. What do you think? Yeah.
Yeah, I think, again, at this point of where Ahsoka is in her journey, I think she has embraced or has accepted the fact that she is, she is a Jedi. Yeah. I think she's back on that train, but it's for that reason that she says she can't train Grogu. Is because she knows that the training that she received, she can't shake that. That's forever a part of her, but that's also a one-way ticket for someone like Grogu to end up in going down the path of Darth Vader. So for that reason, she can't be the one to train him, but definitely, I think at this point, she's kind of re-embraced her beliefs in the Jedi religion.
Yeah, but it's interesting, she's not willing to train him. She's like, it would literally be better if his stuff just died out, think of it from Luke's perspective in the sequel trilogy. Sure.
He was still a Jedi, but he had gotten to a point where he realized the flaws in the Jedi themselves.
Right.
Like he realized that it was time to move beyond that and to grow, that religion or that belief structure beyond what he had been taught. So I think that Ahsoka is on that same level of understanding where she realizes that, it's time, like I hate to say it, but that it's time for the Jedi to end.
Yeah, it's interesting, and I think what we're all hoping, and you had such a great theory on this, and the concept of Luke learning more about the Bendu type philosophy and sort of wanting to step away for that purpose and from that perspective as to not continue to create that sort of counterpoint in the Force,
right?
Which is really interesting, and I hope that gets paid off as well. All right, let me just ramp through a bunch of these supers real quick. Do I think Ahsoka and Boba will meet? I really hope so. That would be dope. Tim says, much love to you and the EPs for what's happened at the end of the stream, and why the hell is nobody talking about Din can now take on Gideon with that spear? Great point, Tim.
Oh, man, I didn't even think about that.
Hey, man. He's got to be fighting him with that spear. Let's go, dude.
That's what's up. Let's do it.
And you know what? I'm really proud of Din. He handled himself, I think, pretty well.
Oh, yeah, man. He did his thing. I didn't expect him to make it.
Yeah.
But he was handling his business, man. I had to give it props.
Yeah, 100%. Steve says, theory, Anakin saw Grogu. His cuteness broke the dark side spell. Oh, yeah, dude. That would be hilarious. That'd be hilarious, dude. Jonathan Alexander says, could Din be force sensitive? Since Legends is being brought up, could Revan train them? So here's the thing. Din, they actually do tease Din being force sensitive in this episode.
Force sensitive.
They do. Right. Yeah.
Yes. And I picked up on that too, man. It was like the way that whole interaction with him, Ahsoka, and Grogu, and her telling her to connect with him, like there was definitely something there, man. So like, imagine, oh man, force sensitive did Jared, bro.
Well, you know what else is so cool about that too is like, I just remember back to the episode with Sabine when Kanan is training her, and he's saying like she's so stubborn, she's so Mandalorian. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it kind of gives you this thing where it's like, look, like maybe what if that's the holdup, right? Like the Mandalorians are too external and too like warrior, and they don't know how to find that balance and allow the Force to flow through them.
Right.
And so, I mean, if you think about it, that kind of is the macro or a microcosm of what Din's character is. He's so zealot. He believes so strongly, so stubborn, and he's such a zealot. He won't even let his face be seen.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
He's a little rigid. He's a rigid guy. Ominous Hiccup says, who will train Grogu, you think? And also, Anakin definitely seen Ahsoka as a Force ghost and warned her. Interesting. Baird says, sorry, who do I think would train Grogu? Man, I have no idea. Could be Luke, could be Din, could be a holocron, could be Ezra as a dark side pupil. Do you think Din will wield the Darksaber, or do you think he will give it back to Bo? It's hard to say. I really don't know, and it's exciting that either way could work at this point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. Then Sergio says, I thought the staff was Ahsoka's from Rebels ending. It was not, but it was dope. I think, go ahead. No more super chats, guys, because we're probably going to call it soon. Al, any last minute thoughts, my friend? Where are you at right now? I'm still on cloud 9, dude. This is crazy.
Bro, you see, I'm still sucking down coffee, man, because I'm
about to go watch it again.
Yeah. Yes. Right after we're done, I'm watching this again, bro, because I know there's stuff that I missed, but I want to go back and just really immerse myself in this episode, man, because I think this episode is like I said, I'm doubling down on it, man. This is a launching pad for what we're going to get from Star Wars probably the next 10 to 15 years. Easy, bro. Easy.
So I agree with you, but instead of 10 to 15 years, they're going to put all of that into the next 5 to 7 years, and then they're also going to sprinkle in some Old Republic. We're going to get a little High Republic here. We're going all over the place, man. But yeah.
Oh yeah, no, but I think this is setting it up. Like I think though, like I said, for me, big picture, they're putting this like this is going to be like MCU level.
Yeah.
With the level of connectivity that they're going with this. And so they're setting up something huge. And we don't even know, we don't even have the full perspective yet, I don't think.
Yeah, man. Whew. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I will tell you, please subscribe to this channel. Consider becoming a member so that you get the behind-the-scenes goodies. We do our watch parties with the members. Man. We do a lot of cool things with the members. I would also recommend subscribing to the main Den of Nerds channel because, man, we're going to be knocking some videos out. I've been thinking hard about this stuff. I've been making thumbnails just because I had a premonition of what we would see and stuff, right? So, I am real excited, man, to be getting into that nerdy stuff.
The good times are back, Josh.
The good times are back. We're back, baby. Let's go, Star Wars.
Let's go.
Let's go, man. Star Wars. Go. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. Thank you all so much for hanging us out on a War Star Mando thing.
That.
And
what he said.
Look, I see all the supers. I love you guys. Sorry, literally my brain's melting. Is there anything you didn't like about the episode? Nah, man, I liked every single thing about the episode. There was this one thing that I thought I didn't like about it, and then I decided I like about it. I like every single frame of the episode. I like the smell of the episode. I like thinking about the episode. I like talking about the episode. I like the episode, bro. Al, anything you didn't like in the episode?
That it wasn't longer.
There we go. Okay, I can live with that. Cool.
That's about it, man. That's about it, man. I could have watched that all night.
About to. All right, brother.
You're right.
All right, everybody. As we always say, hope you're having an awesome and a nerdy day. And we will see you in the next video.